Welcome to the Silicon Slopes podcast. Today I'm joined by Nate Bowden, who is the Chief Technology Officer of NICE CXone. How are you, Nate?
Hey, doing great. Good morning.
Good morning. All right, let's just jump right in because I know a lot of folks are familiar with NICE, NICE in Contact, NICE CXone, but what is NICE CXone? What does the company do?
The easiest way I like to describe it is we connect people. Especially during the pandemic and things. The human connection has been something that we've all kind of missed. And so what we do is we provide software solutions to connect businesses to their customers. So traditionally, you can think of things like contact centers. If you have a question, you want to make an order, you want to check your balance, you want a technician to come to your house, you would contact some type of business, and then that business would do something and hopefully solve your issue or sell you a service or whatever. And so what NICE CX1 does is we kind of wrap that experience together in all the different software products that you need in order to have a great experience, connecting yourself to your customers. So we were acquired about 5 years ago, almost 5 years ago. We were called In Contact at the time. NICE acquired us for about $1 billion. And what In Contact focused on at that time is the software call routing. So we did a software as a service based solution to allow somebody to take their contact center from being an on-premise physical installation to being something where we handled all of that. And as long as you had an internet connection and some type of computer or a phone, you could start providing services from wherever it was that you were located. And so that's kind of what we do is we do the services that make a contact center great, that allow a customer to know that they're being effective in their interactions with their customers. We do analytics on those interactions. We provide insights and AI into how to better serve your customers, what they may, to anticipate what they may need, and those kinds of services.
Got it. For sure, connecting people. And who are some of your customers? Do you focus on big enterprises or big, small, medium?
I know it's kind of a cop-out answer, but it's really all over the place. We have some of the very largest entities in the world. Everything from like the TSA doing their recordings for every traffic control record going through. Some of the largest financial institutions in the world, down to very small customers who, every company in the world needs to connect to their customer. And with the cloud and with a subscription model, we've democratized that. We've made it so the smallest companies and the largest companies have access to the similar tools. It's much easier to set up. It's much easier for them to maintain. They don't need to have a very large IT organization supporting their services or working on it. We kind of handle that for them. And so we really are all over the place. Historically, as In Contact, we focused more on kind of the small to medium business because they were the early adopters to the cloud. They were the first ones in because it gave them an opportunity to get some of the later newest technology, not have to manage long upgrade cycles and expensive equipment, and for a monthly subscription type fee, they had access to cutting edge software. And then, later on, larger entities, larger enterprises have come aboard as everyone's recognized that this whole cloud thing isn't going away. And, that there's actually an ROI that goes far beyond cost with the speed to innovation and the integration to other players and those kind of things that you get with the cloud service.
Got it. So I have a very low bar as far as like customer service as it pertains to me. If something doesn't show up or if it's broken, I usually just call it good because it's been so painful. I probably over the years, the one I've called the most would be like a phone provider, right? But I think I'm an outlier in that I don't expect good customer service. But for your customers, a big value add is that they do provide good customer service. And so if using a phone provider just as an example, whether it's true or not, you get a lot of calls about a phone not working or a bill that was incorrect. And if you're listened to and if you're helped, you probably stay as a customer. That's a very simple premise, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately, especially in some of those types of industries, we've become accustomed to a very low bar of service. We actually feel like our expectations of are met if we have that low bar of service. But what's happened in the last handful of years is the world has undergone this digital transformation, and expectations change with that. Most people aren't just picking up a phone and making a call. They might be entering a social media app. They may actually just tweet online something about their experience with the company. They may want to be contacted via a text message or whatever. And so, using your example, how much better would it be if that phone provider had adequate analytics on what was happening, and they would proactively send something out to you and say, hey, we noticed that your service has been degraded. We've gone ahead and made this upgrade, or we've noticed that it started to degrade. We've sent technicians out in your neighborhood, and they're going to be doing this or whatever. And so we're all over the place with those kinds of things as far as using AI and analytics with the data we have. If you think about it, if you're that phone provider, you might get a couple of million calls a week or a few million contacts, maybe even a day. And that's a wealth of information as to what's actually going on with your customers. What are they thinking about? How do they feel? What type of sentiment do they have as they're interacting with you? Are they mentioning your competitors all the time? What are the reasons for that, and how do you determine, and how do you actually know if you had a positive outcome? So those are where the industry is going, far beyond just simply, can you connect a person to an agent or even a bot that may be able to answer what they need or address them. Our expectations as consumers are really increasing in those areas. To the point that those phone companies and everyone else, they're recognizing that low bar is not enough, especially in a democratized technology world where you could just go to another provider and you probably would have a somewhat similar experience. And so they have to find ways to differentiate, and it's that customer experience that's going to be that differentiator.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've mentioned a lot of kind of big words as far as like AI and machine learning and millions of calls, millions of data points. So this is what you and your team build, right? Like this service and this software and this technology that you can shed light to your customers about their customers. So how does that work where you've got a customer and you've got all these data points and you're able to see trends and stuff? Do you guys help them with here's what we would do, or do you pass that information off and let them do what they think is best?
Yeah, that's a great question, and the answer is absolutely. We try and be proactive. Yeah, and certainly depending on the level of service package you pay for and stuff, you'll get more of the proactive insights and those kind of things. But we that's one of the things that we've really recognized is that as the keepers of the data of the interaction, we have a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of possibility of things that we can do. As one example, we actually have a technology that allows you to connect a person to an agent that has a matching personality type. There's data that shows that certain personality types are really compatible with each other, and you might be led to have a more favorable outcome if you have somebody that has a common personality type. And so if you think about it, your cell phone number that you may have used for the last decade plus, you've interacted with thousands of companies probably. And and those are data points that can be brought together. And we might know, hey, Garrett does particularly well when somebody with this type of personality comes in. Or, hey, this is Garrett calling again. He's called 3 out of the last 4 times, and it's been about his phone service. Why don't we ask proactively, is this call about the phone service? Cut through the whole tree and get right to that person that would have the ability to address it. So it's about taking the insights and the analytics on that truly amazing amount of data between a customer and their customers that can really be a differentiator. I mean, if you think about it, even 10, 20 years ago, it was impossible for a company to really know what was going on with their customers and how they felt, what they were thinking of, what they were interacting with. And now that's readily available to them. And regardless of whatever channel they're using, they can use WhatsApp or Facebook or an SMS message or a tweet or a phone call, and yet we can still know, this is an interaction with your customer and this is how they're feeling.
All right, that's very interesting because that seems like a no-brainer, but it obviously takes a lot of brains and a lot of technology and a lot of time to figure that out. Yet it's a little rough, if you don't want to talk to a 24-year-old millennial. I'd much rather talk to like a 45-year-old kind of grumpy person because they would relate a lot better, right? And the pain points are probably similar, and the understanding of how the world works is probably similar. And so you're able to kind of, that just one data point that's kind of fun, right? Kind of prove that the interaction and the customer service and ultimately trickle down to the bottom line is better if they're interacting with folks that can at least practice some sort of empathy, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the way I like to describe it is, for every one of our customers, we are their connection to their customers. Sometimes we are their cash register. We're the way that they conduct new business, they make sales, those kind of things. Sometimes we're their service arm. I mean, we have customers. We have surgeons who get on and do consults in hospitals, doing translations and letting people know what's going on there. We have lawyers, and we have engineers, and all the way to every industry you can think of. And if you look at the marriage of technology with customer service, and then when you add the analytics and the data on the inside of it, and then start using AI to help make better informed decisions, or help that consumer know a little bit more about what's going on, that's really where things are going. We just acquired a company a few months ago that really specializes in knowledge management. And so, you can imagine maybe you're having a problem with a product you just purchased, and you don't actually usually go to that company's website. You'll go to Google or whatever, and you'll type in, why isn't my dishwasher working, or I hear a sound when this happens, or whatever. And so this new company that we acquired, which we've integrated into our suite of products, it allows you to, from that, whatever their digital doorstep is, whether it's from the search engine or from wherever it is that they initiated it, they can go in and start a contact that can elevate to an agent, or a bot can handle it. And the idea is that you can deflect if you need to, so that you can, if some of us don't ever want to talk to anybody, we would rather just get our issues resolved right away. And so we allow that as well.
A lot of bases to cover because people will always find a way to complain and be discontented. Of all the industries out there, and it sounds like you guys interact with a lot of them, there's probably not enough money in the world for me to be the customer support head or CX lead of an airline, right? That one seems like it's just Armageddon constantly. Are there any industries that over your time you've seen that are more prickly or harder to deal with? And do you guys kind of tackle those specifically as you build out your technology, or do you prefer your technology can cover any industry?
We start with a platform that can cover any industry, and then we specialize from a vertical perspective. We have a customer advocacy group, where we select executives from a bunch of different industries. When we meet with them for a product board, getting their feedback to understand what is it that really works for them, what doesn't work for them. Our product group meets very closely with them. And so, we do a lot of those things. What I'll tell you is, every industry at its heart still has the same common need. They've got to connect somehow. They need to make an impression to their customer, whether that is service, where maybe you're not getting any extra money for that service, but what you're hoping is that by providing excellent service, that you're going to have better renewals, or they'll stay on longer, or direct sales, or any of those things. I mean, we have customers of every industry, and I'll say certainly that the more prickly ones are the ones that have higher levels of, kind of federal regulation, those things, healthcare providers, government entities, those kinds of things. But what we do for them is we try and obfuscate a lot of that complexity and the prickliness from there by encompassing it in the platform. We have many different security attestations and certifications. If depending on what level of security or compliance you need for your industry, we'll put you in a certain environment in our cloud, and they can go from there. But certainly, I'd say there are reasons that certain industries have reputations. But we're working really hard to try and make those positive experiences as well. Going back to the airline example, I'll tell you one of my very favorite things is some of the enhancements that have been done in the airline industry to make it very easy to know that I'm checked in, my bags are ready, or they're delayed, or in those proactive notifications that come out to me. It makes it a lot easier than, I think all of us that have traveled for a while, we've been in that situation where you're at the airport and you're looking up and all of a sudden the gate information is different and you're scrambling and running to, the next jetway to try and make it. But then, now we at least have the ability to connect people and have them know that that stuff's happening. So even if it's going to be a bad experience, they at least know about it. They're not surprised at the last second.
Yeah, I can imagine. I bet there's a lot of airline folks that have worked 30, 40 years in the industry and are getting ready to retire that wish that these capabilities existed in the 80s and 90s, because I'm sure they've got a lot of battle scars. A couple more questions. So once you've got a customer and they need this service because of this, they're onboarded and all of that. I assume there's tons of processes that go into that. But what's the interaction like after they're a customer? Is it weekly check-ins? Like, how do they kind of tweak and mold the service working with you guys?
I mean, on multiple levels, there's touch points at several different levels. I mean, we have a 24/7, 365 support organization. If they ever have any issues or their challenges, they're not getting the results that they're looking for, any of that kind of stuff, they certainly have that available to them. We also have technical account managers who they work directly with, who will really get to know their business and can help bring in some expert consultants to know, okay, if you're an airline, here are some best practices that we've seen. Here are some things that are working really well in your industry, or because we have thousands of customers across many different industries, handling millions of these calls every day. We have a lot of data and we have a lot of insights where we can see, well, these are the types of results that are really happening. Everything from when you call up, press 1 for this, press 2 for that. There are best practices about what to do and how to, nobody wants to be sitting in a phone tree forever. Nobody wants that. Something as simple as hey, we see, we are overloaded right now. We can save your spot. Push this button and we will call back on the number you called at the time, so you don't have to sit there and wait. There's a million of those kind of things that you can do to try and make for a better experience. And so we have experts in our professional services and implementation in our services organization that guide those customers through what those best practices are, and then help them understand the reporting and the analytics around it to know how effective it is. We also do things where you can do some A/B testing. Try this flow. Send some of your customers over to this flow, and then try that one over there and see which one's getting the better results for you, and those kind of things.
Very interesting. What a world. So you've been with NICE, CXone, NICE inContact, all the iterations for 13 and a half years. So I've done a lot of these podcasts and I interact with a lot of folks throughout the day. That's kind of long in this modern world. How's that journey been for you over the years? And what's your favorite part of being a CTO of a big growing technology company?
Garrett, I think it's amazing as I look at it that, I've been here 13 and a half years or so. And yet in that time, I think I've worked for 4 or 5 different company names. When I joined, I had actually been working for a very large company doing public safety software prior to coming here, doing 911 dispatch and police records, those kind of things, and I loved it. And I got a call from a former coworker, and he said, "Hey Nate, you got to check out what this company's doing." It was called UCN at the time, and they had made this transition from being kind of a telecom reseller to being a software as a service provider for contact centers. And I said, I'm not really that interested. Call centers aren't super exciting to me. It's not something I wake up in the morning thinking I really want to be part of. And he said, no, you don't understand. It's about connecting people. It's about servicing companies and creating connections and trying to find positive experiences. And we're doing it in the cloud. We're doing it as a subscription model. We're trying to do some things that have never been done before. And so that sounded pretty exciting. I joined the company back in 2008. And ever since, as I look back with distance, it's been a meteoric rise. The in-contact or nice CXone portion has grown from about 150 people that time to probably about 2,500 today. We've had multiple company names, we've multiple focuses. We joined with NICE about 5 years ago, and at the time created the world's first, truly, kind of 360 view of the customer and a subscription model to connect people. And so it's been really exciting. The thing that's kept me here is, every 3 or 4 years, there's been a reinvention. You're marrying software with customer service, with the expectations of an ever more connected people. And so, it's incredibly fast paced. It's incredibly fast moving, a lot of growth. I mean, I have hundreds of positions on my team that are open right now. As we're growing, I've got employees in 10 different time zones. So, just a tremendous opportunity and growth, and we're doing some really exciting things. So that's kind of what's kept me there. As far as what, about being a CTO of a larger organization like this, the thing that I like the most is feeling like I can make a difference. It's pretty exciting to look at the scale, and, we're not dealing with just small customers. Now, we can make changes and we can do things, we can create features and products that literally millions of people will be connected with. And, certainly during the whole COVID pandemic, that was even more important. 18 months ago when all of us went home and, left our offices, and, there was a mad scramble by many, many companies throughout the world of how do we keep connected? How do we keep our employees connected during this time? And, it was great to be a part of the solution, to be one of those helpers that connect people. We have 911, and we have the 211 and suicide hotlines, and, federal emergency response and other things that all use our solution to try and help people when they need help. So that's kind of the thing that I draw on the most is, there's certainly challenges of being part of a growing organization that's defining new boundaries. But what really drives me is feeling like I'm making a difference.
Yeah, very cool. And and whenever you decide to hang up the old the boots, whether that's in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, or never, theoretically, I'm sure you've got a lot of ideas being a technologist on what's possible out there with the software and the hardware and people's brains and machine learning. When you look back, once you've hung them up, what do you think will have come to fruition based on your imagination and what you think is possible, and what do you think might be a bridge too far?
That's a great question. And what I'd say is the bridge too far is getting to be at the point where, we all know it and we feel it. It's when an entity is annoying us and they're doing, they're needling you rather than helping you. And so where I will know that we've won is when you're having excellent proactive communication from the entities you want to correspond with, solving problems that you want solved, transacting business the way that you want to in whatever channel that you want to, and and not the reverse of that, of the bunch of calls that you don't want to have annoying you in the middle of the night or whatever. And so where I think the industry is going to go is is going is this recognition that it's not just about these blast outs, to just hoping that some scatter shot hits somebody who might be interested. it's understanding more about you and about your, your desires and how you want to conduct business, and your preferences, and taking that content and that data and marrying it to make a better experience. And where I think eventually it will go is, I think, everybody talks about digital footprints, and just your own online identity, and that information will be consolidated, and there will be adequate analysis behind it, that you should be able to demand a high level of experience. You shouldn't ever be in a situation where, oh man, I really don't want to talk to this company, that that's going to be really bad, because I think those companies won't exist. I think that what will happen is there will be such democratization of service, of product, I should say, that your service will be the thing that differentiates you. And you've already seen that by, look at there's companies that, if you and I were sitting down having lunch, you'd tell me, man, I would go out of my way to buy from this company versus that company. You'd be a real advocate for them. And generally, that advocacy isn't just because you love some particular product. It's because of how they make you feel, and how they connect with you in a way that other companies or other entities don't.
Yeah. No, that's great. And yeah, to not be needled and find that sweet spot, that's a great answer. Very cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the Silicon Slopes podcast, Nate. It sounds like you guys have plenty of awesome work coming down the chute, and look forward to you guys' continued success. And thanks for all the support over the years.